and it took only 90 days to put the 30,000 piece jigsaw puzzle together.
90 days, wow. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are going to be checking out the Kelpies, Scotland's shape-shifting water spirits. So I found this out on the last video I did. It was a reaction to the Falkland wheel, which is like the world's only rotating boat lift, which is pretty sweet. You should go check it out. And this one here is about the Kelpies. So in that video, it showcased the water wheel, right? But right up the road, right in the same area, it showed these Kelpies, which is these giant, massive horse heads, which you probably could tell from the thumbnail when you clicked on the video, of course. But anyways, this is from the channel of Scotland Unplugged, which is the exact same channel that I did on the last video. So we're going to go ahead and jump into another video by his channel. And yeah, check this out right now on the greatest channel ever. If you also think it's the greatest channel ever, hit like, hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. And we're going to be checking out these massive horse head sculptures and see what they're all about.
These are the Kelpies. If you've ever looked up Scotland on Instagram or TikTok, the chances are you've seen them around.
Never before yesterday.
What's the story? What are Kelpies? Why are they here? And what do they want? Welcome to Scotland Unplugged and the tale of Scotland's mythical murderous water horses.
Murderous?
Easy for me to say. Take a trip along the Forth and Clyde.
Yeah, I've never in my life heard about these things until yesterday.
Canal, a 19th century waterway connecting east and west. Or drive along a more modern thoroughfare, the M9 motorway, and eventually you won't be able to miss them, rearing up at you from the horizon.
That's super cool.
Designed and constructed by the sculptor Andy Scott, they tower over you at 100 feet.
Wow.
But why aren't they just called horses? Kelpies are mythical shape-shifting water spirits. They're said to live around rivers and sometimes lochs in Scotland, where they'll try every trick in the book to lure you to a watery grave.
Every trick in the book. So it's a trickster is what it is. So shape-shifting. So horses isn't the only form then that these things take on then, right? So horse is just maybe the most common form that they take.
One story, a group of children skip church one Sunday. They go to play next to a nearby river. That's always going to end well. They hear the hooves behind them and turn, thinking they've been caught. But they realise there's no rider, only the most beautiful horse they've ever seen. A horse that kneels down, enticing them to climb on his back. They're kids, skipping church, living their best lives. Why not?
Yeah.
So they climb aboard. 7 of them manage to get onto the horse's back.
7? It's a big horse.
A back that almost seems to grow when another child joins. An 8th child, the smallest of them, looks on. He's transfixed, but he knows something's not quite right.
Well, I mean, you got a horse that's just, you know, almost seems like it's almost growing bigger to fit another child. You got 7 people on this horse.
He can't help himself. He reaches out and touches the horse, but a strange feeling grabs him. He almost can't resist. Almost. But then he pulls out his knife and cuts off his own finger as the horse thunders away, taking the other 7 children into the loch for lunch. There are numerous stories about the Kelpies who don't always...
We're just going to continue.
take the form of a horse. They can shapeshift into human form. Sometimes they're seen as a young, handsome man when they want to entice young women.
Just like me.
sometimes as an older man, and sometimes
Also like me. Older. I'm getting there.
they appear as a sort of hairy guy who attacks travellers. Victorian painters like to portray them as nude women, for some reason. In human form, their hair is entwined with seaweed, or kelp, which kind of makes them a bit easier to spot.
Okay. Hence the name Kelpies.
If you can take the horse by the bridle, or if you can throw on your own bridle, one with a crucifix, it's said that the kelpie is yours to control, and that they have the strength of 10 horses. I mean, that is a pretty high-risk strategy, but no guts, no glory. Legend has it that the McGregor clan have a bridle they took from a kelpie that they passed down through the generations.
Okay.
The kelpie's goal is remarkably consistent: human flesh.
Now and that's the thing. Horses, a normal horse, of course, would be a vegetarian, of course.
Like a lot of folk tales, the meaning's probably fairly straightforward. Stay away from the water, and handsome men, and probably 19th century painters. And don't skip church. It's a bit of a weird location for a mythical creature though.
Yeah.
Falkirk has quite a backstory of its own. We'll get into some of the older stuff in a later video that I'm currently editing about William Wallace. But more recently, it was an industrial powerhouse. It sits at the heart of the country, at the junction of the Forth and Clyde and Union Canals. It was at the heart of the iron and steel industry. Like Glasgow, it was known for engineering, manufacturing, stuff we don't really do to the same extent these days. For a while, it really had seen its best days.
Okay, so for a while it was in a good spot, but it does seem like a pretty random, desolate spot. But I mean, I guess if that's where the legend and the myth came from, you know, the epicenter, if you will, then certainly I guess it'd be a good spot. Why would you put it somewhere else, right? But it just seems so desolate, right?
Something was needed here. A focus for the area. Something to pull in the tourists. And some cash. They are the biggest equine sculptures in the world. But they were nearly only 3 metres high. Andy Scott presented...
Oh, okay, so there's a small one and then a big one.
But they were nearly only 3 metres high. Andy Scott presented this maquette behind me to the council, who were very happy until he explained it was just a model and the real versions would be 10 times the size. They still wanted the 3 metre version. The full-sized killer horses were a bit pricier. But eventually, after some campaigning, they secured lottery funding.
Nice.
And brought these monsters to life.
I would have done the same thing, like, well, just a model, okay, cool, that's just a regular, smaller Kelpie statue, like, let's keep that one too.
They're quite a feat of engineering. Construction began in 2013, and it took only 90 days to put the 30,000 piece jigsaw puzzle together.
90 days, wow. I mean, of course, it was built before that. That's just assembly, 90-day assembly time. Pretty good. I mean, those are big horses, so... Kelpies, I should say. They just look like horses.
But from development to completion, it took 3,285 days.
Yeah. You gotta craft it, you gotta design it, you gotta mock it up, you gotta, do strength rigid tests, or like rigid ability, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta test the strength, like how rigid it is, how strong it is. You gotta make sure it's all good, you gotta build it, craft it. It's a whole thing.
Like their mythical counterparts, they're pretty enticing. As good as they look right now, though, you should come back in the dark. I seen in the video where about the Falkland wheel, it showed this, because this is in the same area, and it looks crazy. Yeah.
The colors must change because, yeah, because when in the other video they were more yellow. Very cool. Oh wow, so that one's it. So you can have different colors because that one was like red fading into blue at the top. Yeah. You know, this doesn't even give it any justice, I'm sure. You know, like once you're actually there, I bet they're just massive, massive, massive. So that's basically that. Yep, same thing. So yeah, the Kelpies, awesome. I never knew about that. You know, like I said, as soon as I saw that in the other video in my head, I'm like, oh wow, I definitely got to check that out. So I did. That was me checking it out. If you guys want to see me checking out more stuff, make sure you hit subscribe, hit like, hit that notification bell, and check out the Patreon account for blocked YouTube videos and whatnot, TV show reactions. And you guys have a super fun, awesome day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.